Hello, we're here today with David Gerofsky from First Gulf and Phil Gillin from Sun Life Investment Management, two very well-known industry leaders. We're going to talk a little bit about First Meadowvale Centre in Mississauga and some industry trends. David, can you tell me a little bit about the First Meadowvale Centre project?
Sure, Scott, happy to do that. Well, we've been partners with Sun Life on the First Meadowvale developments for about 7 years now. We're now on our fourth building. We've built two, and we just broke ground on First Meadowvale Centre Phase 3 this past week.
Phil, can you tell me about when you first started working with First Gulf?
David and I got together, I think it was back in 2006, thereabouts, and we were just having a wide-ranging conversation around suburban locations and where we thought the target location should be. And at that time we were looking pretty much right across the 407 corridor, but we kept on coming back to Meadowvale as being one of the locations that we thought showed the greatest promise. And so those discussions carried on until 2007. And then at that time, you located that land and we went into it on a 50-50 basis.
Can you tell me a little bit of how you identified that land and why there?
We identified Meadowvale as being an excellent location with the highway infrastructure as well as with the GO station located in Meadowvale. And at that time, there were some preliminary discussions with GO Transit about all-day two-way service, and we thought that this would be an ideal location for tenants in the longer term. And we had seen a fair amount of growth in the Meadowvale market at that time.
I think it's important to remember the Meadowvale project in particular, but suburban versus downtown is really a question of amenities and accessibility. Going forward in your development at Meadowvale and other locations, how important is access and transit in that environment? Phil?
The employee base that you have, if you're looking for the knowledge workers, that's more of a downtown live, work, play type of environment. If you're running a data center, that employee base is more suburban in their location. So I think there's opportunities for growth in both of those locations in the GTA.
David, do you have a comment on that?
We spend a lot of time thinking about suburban and urban downtown type of real estate, and for us, we think that there's a major shift and a major change going on. Suburban real estate is going to take on more and more of the attributes of downtown urban locations, and I think that means, they have to be close to public transit. They have to offer amenities which allow people to leave their car at home and walk out the door or stay within the building to find food, banking, in their day-to-day needs, so that they don't need to hop in their car at lunchtime. And we think we have to be in locations around major transit hubs which offer them the opportunity to leave their car at home and take public transit. So I think that there's a bit of a shift going on. Suburban can't just sell itself on being cheap anymore. There's got to be more. There's got to be a value add. And I think that what we're doing in Meadowvale as an example, but also in other places, and in Oakville, and around these major regional transit hubs, is really indicative. We think that's the future of suburban real estate, and we think that's where the long-term value is going to be.
Can you give us an idea of the tenants who've gone into First Meadowvale Centre and why?
Meadowvale as an office node attracts tenants in a few different areas. Financial services, insurance, engineering, healthcare, and technology. That seems to be the general trend. The other thing that makes it a little bit unusual is it really attracts head office tenants, tends to attract larger tenancies, and it's really a who's who of the Fortune 500 and leading Canadian companies.
David, First Gulf has a great reputation for building sustainable buildings. That's still an area that's hard to quantify for tenants. Can you comment a little bit on operating costs and how tenants perceive this advantage going to your buildings?
Sure, Scott. Well, there's a number of things. So we build almost all of our office projects today are LEED Gold buildings. And one of the reasons we do that is it saves operating costs for tenants. And this is actually very quantifiable. In fact, LEED certification requires that we do testing after it's all complete. And the testing shows that operating costs are 30 to 40% lower. Energy costs are lower than in non-LEED buildings. So from a cost point of view, it presents a clear advantage.
We've talked a little bit about occupancy costs, but of course there's other benefits of LEED certified buildings. David, perhaps you can talk to that.
Well, I think that the way that tenants are able to lay out their space and the way that employees thrive in these buildings with more fresh air, better light, buildings that are engineered and designed for higher densities, make the work environment much healthier. It reduces employee absenteeism and allows employees to just have a more enjoyable, healthier workplace.
I think the other element of it is collaboration. I mean, employers are looking to optimize the working conditions for their employees so they can interchange ideas, they can talk about business, they can talk about transactions. And moving from your traditional enclosed office environment to an open office environment, lots of natural light, common areas, I think this all contributes to a very positive work environment and allows organizations to attract talent.